Relentless by nature, when you look at the history of progress, real, transformative progress, one thing becomes clear. It's never been about playing it safe. It's about being relentless. It's about refusing to settle for the status quo, even when every voice around you says it's impossible, impractical, or downright crazy. Nature itself is relentless. The universe doesn't pause. Stars don't stop burning. Evolution doesn't take a break, and neither should we. Relentlessness is a mindset. It's the refusal to accept limitations imposed by the present. It's the unyielding drive to push boundaries, to question everything, to rebuild from the ground up if necessary. You don't need permission to innovate, you need courage and persistence. When faced with failure, most people turn away. But relentless minds see failure as data, as feedback. It's not a wall, it's a stepping stone. Because every failure carries a lesson that, if you listen carefully, will bring you one step closer to success. Being relentless means working when no one else is watching. It means dedicating yourself to a vision so clearly that every obstacle becomes fuel, not a barrier. The path forward is rarely clear or easy, but it is always worth it. We stand at a crossroads where technology and human willpower converge. The problems are enormous, from climate change to interplanetary exploration, but so are the opportunities. The difference will be made by those who refuse to give up, those who see failure as temporary and progress as inevitable. Relentlessness is not just a trait, it's a responsibility, because if we don't push, who will? If we don't build, who will? If we don't dare, who will? The future belongs to the relentless, those who treat impossible as a challenge, not a verdict. So be relentless by nature, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because the world doesn't wait, and neither should you. Relentlessness means refusing to accept the status quo and pushing beyond limits. This concept is fundamental to the way progress happens in any field, whether it's technology, science, business, or personal growth. The status quo represents what is normal, what is accepted, what is considered safe or achievable at a given time. It's the sum of all existing rules, assumptions, and limitations that society, industries, or individuals impose on themselves or accept from the world around them. But real innovation and meaningful change do not come from accepting these boundaries. They come from questioning them, challenging them, and ultimately refusing to be confined by them. When we talk about refusing the status quo, it means adopting a mindset that sees current reality not as fixed or final, but as temporary and malleable. The limits of today are often the starting points for tomorrow's breakthroughs. History is full of examples where the prevailing wisdom was overturned by those who refused to accept things as they were. Whether it was the invention of the light bulb, the first powered flight, the internet, or even landing on the moon, all these achievements were made possible by people who looked at the limitations of their time and decided those limits were not the end of the story. This refusal to accept limits often requires going against the grain, challenging conventional wisdom, and facing skepticism or outright opposition. It means questioning the reasons why things have to be a certain way and being willing to explore alternatives that others might dismiss as unrealistic or too risky. The willingness to push beyond established boundaries is what drives exploration, innovation, and progress. Pushing beyond limits is not just a physical or technical challenge, but also a mental and emotional one. It demands resilience because the path forward is often unclear and fraught with obstacles. When pushing beyond limits, failures and setbacks are inevitable. But those who are relentless understand that limits are not walls, but thresholds that can be crossed. Every failure reveals a weakness in the current approach and an opportunity to improve or pivot. This is where persistence becomes crucial, the determination to keep going despite difficulties, to learn from mistakes, and to iterate until success is achieved. The idea of limits is often tied to fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of rejection. But those who refuse to accept the status quo confront that fear head on. They embrace uncertainty and risk because they recognize that the greatest achievements require stepping into the unknown. To be relentless means to act even when the outcome is uncertain, trusting that effort and innovation will carve a new path forward. In many ways, refusing to accept the status quo is about vision. It requires imagining a future that is different from the present, often radically so. Visionaries see beyond the constraints that bind most people's thinking. They envision possibilities that others cannot see yet, and are driven by that vision to overcome any obstacles in their way. This is why relentless individuals often appear unconventional or even reckless to others, because they are operating with a perspective that most people have not yet developed. Pushing beyond it also means embracing continuous learning. The world is constantly changing, and so are the challenges and opportunities it presents. What is considered impossible or impractical today may become achievable tomorrow with new knowledge or technology. To refuse the status quo is to commit to ongoing exploration, discovery, and adaptation. It requires humility to accept that no matter how much one knows or achieves, there is always more to learn and new frontiers to explore. This mindset is particularly critical in the context of technological and scientific innovation, where progress often demands breakthroughs that redefine what is possible. In these fields, limits are constantly tested and expanded. New materials, new techniques, new theories all push the boundaries of human capability and understanding. The individuals and teams who make the greatest leaps forward are those who don't accept existing limits but challenge them relentlessly, often through trial and error, through unconventional thinking, and through sheer determination. Refusing to accept the status quo is also a form of leadership. It requires the courage to inspire others to see beyond the current reality and to join in the effort to create something new. It's about setting a standard of excellence and possibility that raises the bar for everyone involved. Leaders who embody this principle do not just maintain what exists, they actively seek to transform it. They motivate through their conviction and their refusal to be satisfied with mediocrity or complacency. This relentless drive to push beyond limits is a common trait among pioneers in any field. Whether it's entrepreneurs starting companies that disrupt entire industries, scientists developing new treatments for diseases, or explorers charting unknown territories, the refusal to accept the status quo is what propels them forward. It is not enough to dream. Action is required, and that action must be persistent and bold. At a personal level, refusing to accept the status quo can mean breaking free from limiting beliefs or habits that hold individuals back. It means challenging the assumptions about what is possible for oneself and striving to reach higher levels of performance, creativity, or fulfillment. This can be difficult because it often involves stepping outside comfort zones and confronting uncertainty or risk. But it is precisely this discomfort that signals growth and transformation. The principle of refusing the status quo and pushing beyond limits also has implications for society as a whole. Social progress often depends on people who question accepted norms, challenge injustices, and advocate for change. Movements that have reshaped history, whether civil rights, gender equality, or environmental sustainability, were driven by individuals and groups unwilling to accept existing conditions. Their relentlessness forced society to reconsider its assumptions and expand its horizons. In the context of global challenges such as climate change, energy sustainability, or space exploration, this mindset becomes even more critical. These problems are complex and daunting, with many believing they are too large or difficult to solve. But pushing beyond limits means refusing to accept defeat or paralysis in the face of such challenges. It means innovating, collaborating, and taking bold steps towards solutions that may seem impossible at first. The idea of limits is also deeply tied to culture and education. Societies that encourage curiosity, creativity, and critical thinking are more likely to cultivate individuals who refuse to accept the status quo. Educational systems that reward questioning and experimentation rather than rote learning foster the kind of mindset necessary to push boundaries. Encouraging risk-taking and resilience in the face of failure is key to developing relentless innovators. In the world of business, companies that refuse to accept the status quo often disrupt markets and redefine industries. These companies invest heavily in research and development, embrace new technologies early, and cultivate cultures where employees are encouraged to think big and challenge existing paradigms. This relentless pursuit of improvement and innovation is what enables them to stay ahead and create value in ways others cannot. On a technical level, pushing beyond limits involves rigorous problem solving and an iterative approach to innovation. It requires breaking down complex problems into smaller parts, experimenting with different solutions, and refining approaches based on results. The process can be slow and difficult, but relentless persistence transforms incremental progress into revolutionary change. At the core of this concept is an unwavering belief in the power of human ingenuity and effort. Refusing to accept the status quo means trusting that with enough determination, creativity, and hard work, what seems impossible today can become reality tomorrow. It is an optimistic, forward-looking stance that fuels innovation and drives humanity toward a better future. This mindset also demands a level of self-discipline and focus that can be challenging to maintain. Pushing beyond limits often means prioritizing long-term goals over short-term comfort, working tirelessly through setbacks, and staying committed even when immediate results are not visible. It is about maintaining a clear vision and letting that vision guide every action, decision, and effort. Finally, refusing to accept the status quo is an essential part of evolution, whether biological, technological, or societal. Evolution itself is a process of relentless adaptation, change, and improvement. It shows that survival and success depend on the ability to push beyond current limits and adapt to new circumstances. In this sense, being relentless by nature is not just a choice, but a necessity for growth and progress. Failure is feedback, not a final stop. This perspective is crucial for anyone striving to innovate, create, or push boundaries in any field. The moment we see failure as a definitive end, a permanent verdict on our abilities or ideas, we limit our potential and halt progress. But when failure is redefined as feedback, it transforms from something negative and discouraging into an essential and invaluable part of the learning and growth process. To truly embrace failure as feedback requires a shift in mindset. It demands that we detach our identity from our mistakes or setbacks. Failure does not mean we are failures. It means we have encountered a situation that didn't work out as planned. It is a signal, an indicator, a source of information. Just as a scientist treats an unexpected experiment result not as a disappointment, but as data to analyze and learn from, individuals and organizations must approach failure with the same curiosity and openness. In practical terms, failure provides insight into what doesn't work, where assumptions might have been wrong, or where execution fell short. Without failure, it's impossible to identify weaknesses in a plan, product, or approach. It reveals gaps in knowledge, flaws in design, or misunderstandings about the problem at hand. This kind of feedback is indispensable because it steers efforts in the right direction, preventing wasted time and resources on dead ends. Viewing failure as feedback also encourages experimentation. When failure is not feared but welcomed as part of the process, it opens the door to bold, creative attempts. The willingness to experiment, trying new things, taking calculated risks, and pushing beyond comfort zones, is the engine of innovation. Each attempt, whether successful or not, provides data that refines future efforts. This iterative cycle of try, fail, learn, and improve accelerates progress in ways that cautious, risk-averse approaches cannot. One of the biggest barriers to embracing failure as feedback is cultural and societal stigma. Many societies teach from a young age that failure is shameful or unacceptable. This leads to fear of failure, which in turn results in risk aversion, conformity, and missed opportunities. To overcome this, environments must be created where failure is destigmatized, where transparency about setbacks is encouraged, and where people feel safe to take risks without fear of harsh judgment. In business and technology, this mindset is often called failing fast or fail forward. The idea is to quickly identify failures early in the process to minimize costs and maximize learning. The fastest way to success is through rapid cycles of prototyping, testing, and feedback, accepting that many attempts will fail, but each will bring new understanding. Organizations that adopt this approach tend to innovate more rapidly and adapt more effectively than those that insist on perfection from the outset. On an individual level, learning to treat failure as feedback builds resilience and grit. It trains the mind to persist through adversity by reframing setbacks as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. This mental toughness is crucial because the path to meaningful achievement is rarely smooth. Those who see failure as a final judgment often give up prematurely, missing out on the breakthrough that could be just around the corner. Those who treat failure as feedback keep moving, adjusting course, and ultimately reach their goals. The process of extracting feedback from failure requires reflection and analysis. After a setback, it's important to ask questions. What went wrong? Why did it go wrong? What assumptions were incorrect? What can be improved? This analytical approach transforms emotional disappointment into constructive action. It's not enough to simply experience failure. One must learn from it intentionally and systematically. Failure as feedback also promotes humility and openness. It reminds us that no matter how confident we are, we don't have all the answers. There is always more to learn, more to improve, and more to explore. This openness to continuous learning is what keeps innovation alive. It prevents complacency and encourages adaptation in a rapidly changing world. In creative endeavors such as art, writing, or design, failure often takes the form of rejected ideas, flawed drafts, or works that don't resonate with audiences. But these failures provide invaluable clues about what works and what doesn't. Many celebrated creators attribute their success to the lessons learned through repeated failure. They understand that each unsuccessful attempt refines their skills, sharpens their vision, and brings them closer to their true potential. The relationship between failure and feedback is also central in scientific research. Hypotheses are tested through experiments, many of which fail to prove the original idea. But these failures are not wasted efforts. Instead, they contribute to a body of knowledge, ruling out possibilities and guiding researchers toward new avenues. This cumulative process builds understanding over time, driven by the continuous cycle of testing, failing, and learning. In education, encouraging students to view failure as feedback rather than punishment can transform learning outcomes. When students feel safe to make mistakes, they are more likely to take intellectual risks explore complex problems, and develop critical thinking skills. This approach fosters a growth mindset, the belief that abilities can be developed through effort and learning, which is linked to higher motivation and achievement. Technology startups embody the principle of failure as feedback. Many startups experience multiple failures before finding a viable product market fit. The ability to pivot, to iterate based on user feedback and early failures, often distinguishes successful startups from those that collapse. This iterative process, fueled by relentless feedback from each setback, enables rapid evolution and adaptation. Moreover, failure as feedback influences leadership. Effective leaders recognize that setbacks are inevitable and encourage their teams to view them as opportunities to learn and grow. They cultivate a culture where mistakes are analyzed openly and blame is minimized. This approach fosters innovation and collective problem solving, empowering teams to take risks and improve continuously. On a societal level, embracing failure as feedback can drive progress by encouraging experimentation with new policies, technologies, and social initiatives. Societies that allow for trial and error without harsh penalties are more likely to adapt successfully to challenges and seize emerging opportunities. This adaptability is essential in a world marked by rapid technological change and complex global issues. In sports and athletics, failure is an inherent part of training and competition. Athletes experience losses, injuries, and setbacks, but those who succeed use these experiences as feedback to adjust their techniques, strategies, and mental preparation. The iterative process of learning from failure builds not only skill, but also confidence and mental resilience. In personal development, viewing failure as feedback helps individuals overcome fears that hold them back. It encourages experimentation with new behaviors, habits, or goals without the paralyzing fear of making mistakes. This perspective transforms the journey of growth into a dynamic, ongoing process rather than a fixed destination. Ultimately, the idea that failure is feedback and not a final stop empowers people to persist, innovate, and evolve. It reframes challenges as opportunities and setbacks as guides. This mindset is essential in any endeavor where the path forward is uncertain and requires continuous learning and adaptation. It is the fuel that drives relentless progress and achievement. True progress demands courage, persistence, and vision. These three qualities form the foundation for any meaningful advancement. Whether it's in technology, science, social change, or personal achievement. Progress rarely happens by accident or mere chance. It is the result of deliberate, sustained effort fueled by a clear vision of what could be, and the courage to pursue that vision despite obstacles and uncertainty. Courage is the first essential element. It takes courage to challenge existing paradigms, to step into the unknown, and to risk failure and criticism. Most people naturally gravitate toward comfort and security, avoiding risks that might expose them to failure or rejection. But true progress requires pushing beyond these boundaries. It means taking bold steps into uncharted territory where the outcome is uncertain and the path may be fraught with challenges. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite fear. Without courage, ideas remain just ideas and potential remains unrealized. Persistence goes hand in hand with courage. The journey toward progress is almost never linear or smooth. There will be setbacks, failures, and moments when the goal seems out of reach. It is persistence, the refusal to give up, that keeps the effort alive. This quality transforms temporary failures into opportunities to learn and improve. Persistence means showing up every day with a commitment to the vision, even when the results are not immediately visible. It is the force that turns small steps into giant leaps over time. Many of the world's greatest achievements were only possible because someone kept going when others gave up. Vision is the guiding light that directs courage and persistence. Without a clear and compelling vision, efforts can become scattered or lose momentum. Vision is the ability to see beyond the present and imagine a future that does not yet exist. It creates purpose and meaning, motivating individuals and teams to work towards something greater than themselves. A strong vision helps prioritize actions, focus resources, and align people around a shared goal. It provides the inspiration and direction necessary to sustain courage and persistence over the long haul. Together, courage, persistence, and vision create a powerful dynamic. Courage initiates the journey, persistence sustains it, and vision guides it. This trio is evident in every major breakthrough throughout history. Whether it's inventing the telephone, mapping the human genome, or advancing renewable energy, the individuals and groups behind these achievements shared these qualities. They faced uncertainty and resistance, yet they stayed committed because they believed in their vision and refused to give up. These qualities are also interconnected and reinforce each other. A clear vision can inspire courage by providing a reason to take risks. Persistence is easier to maintain when one is driven by a compelling vision. And courage can be renewed through persistent effort and seeing progress unfold. This synergy creates a cycle that propels innovation and achievement forward. The demand for these qualities is especially high in today's fast-paced and complex world. Problems we face, from climate change to space exploration, require solutions that have never been tried before. They require individuals and organizations to push beyond traditional limits and conventional thinking. It takes courage to challenge established norms, persistence to endure long timelines and setbacks, and vision to imagine bold new possibilities. Courage in progress also means standing up to skepticism and criticism. Innovation often threatens entrenched interests and existing power structures. Those who drive change frequently encounter doubt and resistance from others invested in maintaining the status quo. It requires moral and intellectual courage to remain steadfast in the face of such opposition, to defend ideas that others may dismiss or ridicule. This kind of courage is essential for breakthroughs that disrupt industries or reshape societies. Persistence requires discipline and mental toughness. It involves managing frustration, staying focused, and maintaining motivation despite obstacles. It means developing habits and routines that support continuous effort. Persistence is not just about stubbornness. It is about learning from setbacks and adjusting strategies while maintaining commitment to the ultimate goal. This adaptability, combined with relentless effort, is key to overcoming complex challenges. Vision must be rooted in a deep understanding of the problem and the broader context. It requires curiosity, creativity, and strategic thinking. A compelling vision often emerges from exploring possibilities, questioning assumptions, and synthesizing knowledge from diverse fields. Visionaries connect dots that others miss and imagine futures that seem improbable at first. This capacity to think big and long-term is what enables transformative progress. In organizations, leadership plays a critical role in fostering courage, persistence, and vision. Leaders set the tone and culture, encouraging risk-taking, resilience, and forward-thinking. They communicate the vision clearly and inspire teams to align their efforts. Leaders also create environments where failure is viewed as part of the learning process, supporting persistence rather than punishing setbacks. This culture nurtures the qualities necessary for breakthrough innovation. On a personal level, developing courage, persistence, and vision requires self-awareness and intentional growth. It involves cultivating confidence to take risks, resilience to bounce back from failures, and clarity about one's purpose and goals. These qualities can be strengthened through experience, mentorship, reflection, and continuous learning. Individuals who invest in building these traits are better equipped to make significant contributions and navigate the challenges of ambitious endeavors. Technological breakthroughs illustrate the necessity of these qualities. For instance, developing new energy sources involves long research cycles, trial and error, and resistance from established industry. Only those with the courage to innovate, persistence to endure setbacks, and vision to foresee a sustainable future can drive this progress. Similarly, space exploration demands pushing beyond physical and technical limits, requiring an extraordinary combination of bravery, endurance, and imagination. Social progress also depends on these qualities. Movements that have advanced human rights, justice, and equality were led by individuals who dared to envision a better world, persisted despite adversity, and acted with courage. These leaders and activists often faced hostility and personal sacrifice, yet their commitment to their vision propelled lasting change. In education and personal development, embracing courage, persistence, and vision encourages lifelong learning and growth. It motivates individuals to step outside comfort zones, persevere through challenges, and continuously pursue higher aspirations. This mindset fosters innovation, creativity, and fulfillment in all areas of life. True progress is not accidental or easy. It requires a deliberate choice to embrace difficulty, uncertainty, and challenge. It demands that individuals and organizations rise above complacency and fear, harnessing courage to take risks, persistence to keep going, and vision to guide the way. These qualities are the engines of transformation, enabling humanity to solve complex problems and create a future that once seemed impossible. The future belongs to those who dare and never give up. This simple yet powerful truth captures the essence of progress and success throughout human history. The individuals and groups who have shaped the world, pioneered new technologies, broken barriers, and created lasting impact are those who possess the courage to dream big and the tenacity to persist through every challenge along the way. The future, by its very nature, is uncertain and unwritten, but it is shaped by those who dare to act despite that uncertainty and who refuse to surrender when faced with obstacles. To dare is to take risks, to envision possibilities that others might deem unrealistic or too dangerous. It involves stepping beyond comfort zones and challenging conventional wisdom. Daring individuals are not content with maintaining the status quo. They actively seek to push boundaries and explore new frontiers. This willingness to venture into the unknown is essential for innovation and discovery. Without those who dare, progress would stagnate, and society would remain trapped within the limitations of the present. But daring alone is not enough. The journey toward meaningful achievement is almost always filled with setbacks, failures, and moments of doubt. This is where the quality of never giving up persistence becomes indispensable. Persistence is the relentless commitment to a goal despite adversity, rejection, or repeated failure. It is what separates those who eventually succeed from those who give in to discouragement. The most extraordinary accomplishments are rarely the result of instant success, but emerge from prolonged effort and determination. Those who dare and never give up understand that failure is not a defeat, but a necessary step in the learning process. They embrace challenges as opportunities to grow, adapt, and improve. This mindset transforms obstacles into fuel for progress rather than reasons to quit. It also cultivates resilience, the mental toughness to bounce back stronger after setbacks. Resilience is crucial because the path to the future is rarely smooth or predictable. The combination of daring and persistence creates a powerful force that drives innovation and breakthroughs. It fosters an environment where experimentation and risk-taking are encouraged, and where failure is viewed as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. This dynamic propels continuous improvement and allows for the exploration of ideas that might initially seem far-fetched or impossible. Throughout history, countless examples illustrate how those who dared and never gave up changed the world. Inventors who revolutionized communication, transportation, and medicine faced skepticism and repeated failure before achieving success. Explorers who charted unknown territories risked everything to expand human understanding of the planet. Social activists who fought for justice and equality persisted through opposition and hardship to transform societies. Each of these stories highlights the indispensable role of courage combined with unwavering persistence. In the modern era, the rapid pace of technological change and global challenges demands that individuals and organizations embody this spirit more than ever. Climate change, energy sustainability, space exploration, and global health crises require bold visions and the sustained effort to bring those visions to life. The future will be shaped by those who dare to confront these issues head-on and who refuse to be deterred by complexity or difficulty. To cultivate the mindset of daring and persistence, individuals must develop confidence in their abilities and clarity about their purpose. Confidence allows them to take the initial leap into uncertainty, while a clear sense of purpose fuels ongoing motivation. Without these internal drivers, the inevitable challenges can become overwhelming, leading to abandonment of goals. Supportive environments also play a critical role in enabling people to dare and persist. Whether in education, business, or community, cultures that celebrate curiosity, risk-taking, and resilience foster the growth of these qualities. Mentorship, collaboration, and access to resources further empower individuals to sustain their efforts over the long term. In leadership, daring and persistence manifest as visionary guidance combined with steadfast commitment. Leaders who embody these traits inspire others to pursue ambitious goals and maintain focus despite difficulties. They model resilience and encourage experimentation, helping organizations navigate uncertainty and capitalize on emerging opportunities. At the personal level, embracing the mindset of daring and never giving up transforms challenges into growth opportunities. It encourages individuals to view setbacks as temporary and surmountable, fostering a proactive approach to problem solving. This mindset enhances creativity, adaptability, and emotional strength, all of which are essential for success in any endeavor. Moreover, daring to dream big and persist through adversity cultivates a legacy that extends beyond individual achievements. It inspires others to follow suit, creating ripple effects that accelerate collective progress. Societies that value and support this mindset are more likely to thrive in the face of change and uncertainty. In entrepreneurship, daring entrepreneurs launch ventures that challenge established markets and introduce novel solutions. Their persistence through early failures, financial risks, and market uncertainties often determines whether these ventures succeed or fail. The startup ecosystem thrives on this cycle of daring innovation and relentless effort. Scientific discovery also depends on this combination. Researchers push the boundaries of knowledge by daring to explore untested hypotheses and persist through experiments that don't always yield immediate results. Their breakthroughs often come after years of painstaking work, trial and error, and resilience in the face of setbacks. In the arts, creators who dare to express new ideas or challenge norms often face criticism or rejection. Yet their persistence in refining their craft and sharing their vision can lead to cultural revolutions and enduring influence. Educational systems that encourage students to dare to think differently and persist through challenges help develop future innovators and leaders. This approach nurtures critical thinking, creativity, and problem-solving skills necessary for navigating a complex world. The future belongs to those who see beyond current limitations, who dare to imagine new possibilities, and who commit to bringing those possibilities into reality through relentless effort. It is a future shaped not by passive acceptance, but by active, courageous engagement with challenges and opportunities. This principle applies universally across industries, disciplines, and individual lives. Whether launching a groundbreaking technology, advocating for social justice, or pursuing personal excellence, daring and persistence are the driving forces behind transformation. To embody this mindset requires embracing uncertainty and accepting that failure and setbacks are inevitable parts of any worthwhile journey. It means cultivating resilience, adaptability, and an unwavering commitment to one's goals. Ultimately, the future is crafted by those who refuse to be deterred, who keep moving forward when others stop, and who maintain faith in the power of persistence combined with bold vision. This relentless pursuit is what turns dreams into reality and drives humanity forward.